Yes, nicely timed water. Welcome everybody. I just said to Ivan, I
Hey!
go 3, 2, and he takes a swig of water. Professional.
Yeah, yeah. And they do it like that on the TV.
Yeah, yeah, of course I do. I've seen them running and doing their lipstick and the makeup. That's right. Where's your makeup artist, my friend? Yeah, exactly. G'day everyone. Walter, if you're still here, hello.
Hey,
Sam, how you going? Thierry. We have a massive crowd of 4. Well, we have
oh,
4 different commenters as
yeah, but
opposed.
the thing is, if we
Well, actually, it's a massive crowd of
if
3.
we miss 2 weeks, like we have done, like
Yeah, of
we
course.
have to pay the price.
Yeah. Let me actually see how many there are. Yeah, there's 3. There's not even 4.
And
That's,
one of them is drunk.
one of them is what? Oh yeah, well yeah, Sam's had a couple of drinks.
Ah, hey, hi, Thierry. Thierry. Okay. Okay.
All right,
So where are you?
hit us up. What are you doing, man? You?
I need to bring you back because yeah, okay. I
Ah,
closed a few.
Scaldo is here.
Hey,
So the Europeans. Well, we've got an Aussie. Hang on, we've got a Canadian, an English person, an Aussie, and a Floridian, and
I
another
will
Canadian.
I will force everyone that enters the chat to put the flag behind their name, be, just to be able to do the same as you do. Because I cannot, like Thierry, I remember he is Canadian,
Yeah.
and Walter is Floridian.
Yes, correct.
The rest I
3D
have no
Printing
idea.
Revolution is Aussie. Red Light is American. Hello, Red Light. Scalda is UK. If memory
Yay!
serves, it is. It's UK.
Yeah.
Chris,
I was
g'day.
I was talking to JT before. Like I don't think that I've mentioned this publicly, but I had an empty warehouse next to mine, and they have put in there a drum manufacturing plant. They're making drums,
Yeah, literally drums.
little drums. Like there is only one thing that is noisier than playing drums. It's making them. So I've talked to my landlord, and they are going to soundproof my wall, that the one that is next to that warehouse, and I had to take down all my backdrop for my video. So it's going to be in the next video. It's going to be fun.
It's going to be bare, stark, naked.
It's going to be bad. It's going to be bad. Yeah, but I will ride the wave.
So how long is the work going to take?
Well, there's the thing.
Oh, we're in Spain
My
too, mind you.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
It's even worse. My landlord said 2 days. The contractor said 4 days. This being Spain, I hope it is finished by the end of the year.
Oh, so you don't just add the 2 together and get 6 days.
Oh no. No. So, so yes, yeah. Thank giggling, yeah. No more thank giggling. No, it's not that they hear me yelling. It's that they hear me talking. Like they can, without watching the YouTube video, they can write on the comments right now because they can hear me clearly because the wall is kind of thick.
So what sort of drums do they make? Have you inquired?
There is no. There is we have the biggest holiday on the city. It's called the Dia de San Sebastián, San Sebastian's Day. We celebrate something that I'm not sure what it is, but the entire, like, it is in February. The entire city dressed up as some uniform from some war, and some dress up as cooks, and some of them play drums, and others play what we call barrels. The barrels are drums that are like drums, like are like barrels in miniature.
Yes, I understand. Do they play the left and the right? Do they bang it on both sides?
No.
No?
Upright,
Upright.
and
Okay.
only the top.
Yep.
And this plant in here makes the barrels.
Oh, good.
So they are working and modifying wood. Like they have been working and heating and routing wood non-stop since August. Like I had to come Saturday nights to the shop to record the audio, just so you cannot hear them.
Wow.
I don't know. Jamaican barrel drum, but miniature. I think. Like that sounds like big. This is small. So yeah, the things that have hardware that has to be hammered in this is really fun, really fun. Yeah, but I think it seems that it's going to be solved. Just that I will have to finish my latest video without a backdrop and crammed in one corner of the shop. But well, mañana, yeah, yeah, mañana. When are you going to finish? Yeah, mañana. Tomorrow.
Ah, okay.
Exactly. Yeah. Mañana means tomorrow. Yeah. So yeah. Should we dive into today's
Please.
topic?
Yes, please.
Yeah. Because like I have ideas. Like you know that I have crazy ideas.
No.
And,
No.
Yeah. Some of them are a bit radical. So and usually there are a few things in my head that bounce on and off for years. And this is an old one. And I've been seeing like tweets from Adrian Boyer, the father of RepRap, and some comments in my own videos, and people talking about filament recycling and everything. And I've been always trying to find a universal solution to pollution and landfill management, trash, programmed obsolescence. Like I have a solution for all of it, and it's money. So
is that all? Just money?
It's just money.
Okay.
Money changing hands. And there is this thing. How many of you know what fund is? PFAND. Raise your 10-second delayed hand. Fund is something that is already in practice in Germany and in Austria. And it means that when you buy a bottle of water, you pay, depending on the size of the bottle, you pay 25 cents or €1. And if you bring it back to the shop and put it in a special machine, you get your money back.
Ah, so it's a deposit.
Yes, but if I'm correct, the bottle cannot be made of any plastic. Like this, for example, this is a crime.
Crime.
You have made a bottle of a plastic that is tinted. So if you try to recycle this bottle, you can only recycle it to make bottles that are the same color. So, yeah, in Berlin they do that. Yes, exactly. So all the bottles that are made of PET are the same color.
Yes.
So if you try to remelt the PET to make new bottles, all are the same color, and you can get more cycles.
So Coca-Cola, those sort of plastic ones, yeah?
Yes. But the thing is, what we are doing now, like with this extinction rebellion thingy movement and everything, is what happens if I go to your house and bring my trash and leave it in your house? You get mad,
yes,
right?
Yeah.
You would get mad. But maybe the first time you would be polite. Maybe if you are Thierry, he's Canadian. Maybe the first time he will be polite. But in the long term, you will be pissed because I'm leaving my trash in your house and you will end up with no space. Okay, so what if when you buy something, you will have to pay for that thing to be returned to its original state? Let's say if I buy a phone, what if when I buy the phone, I have to pay for the same factory or the same company that made it to return it to the same state as the beginning, like lithium, gold, glass, everything back to its original form so it can be used again. How much do you think this phone would cost?
I'm horrified to think how much it might cost because
Okay.
it's already $2,000.
Yeah. Yes. Exactly.
It's $2,000 or
but
a
the thing
thousand
is, the
euros
thing
or
is, the thing is, it shouldn't be fair to put it in a landfill, and make our kids and our grandkids to pay for our luxuries,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
So let's say if you want to buy a chair for your garden, and you can buy a chair that is made out of wood and brass, and waxed instead of varnished, or you could get a plastic chair. If you get your brass and wood waxed chair and bury it in the ground deep enough,
yeah,
let's say in 50 years time, it will not be there.
yeah.
But if you get the plastic chair and do the same, it will be there for
Oh
another
yes,
5,000
oh
years or
yes,
whatever.
absolutely.
So when you have to make the choice between one or the other, you should have to pay to bring it back to its original state.
Okay.
So you will have to pay, because I'm pretty sure that you could bring back ABS to its original form, for example. But it will be insanely expensive.
Yeah.
Like you could use acetone or some solvent and then precipitate the solvent and like bring the decomposed materials and use it again. But a chair made out of recycled ABS would cost like maybe 2,000 euros.
Exactly.
So you will be really encouraged to buy chairs that are made out of wood or aluminum or steel,
Yeah.
that can be used again. But there is one more caveat. If you recycle a chair made of aluminum, you have to do something with the aluminum. You have to remelt it.
Yep. Do you make it into ingots? What do you do?
Yeah, you just have to apply energy to it to melt it and bring it back in another form, like a Coke can or
Yep.
a profile to make a machine or whatever. And that requires CO2 emissions, unless you buy it from a zero emissions factory or whatever.
Yep.
So you should have to pay for the capture of that CO2.
Okay.
But wooden chairs are CO2 negative, because wood is CO2 capture in the form of wood. It's not a very good capture method, but there is some of it. Like you don't have to emit CO2 to make a wooden chair.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
So that's my plan is to make people pay, not make the people pay, make the price tag. Like what I will make is sequester the money from the companies to force them to bring back the products to its original state. Everything.
Man, you're not getting into power anytime soon, I can tell you.
I know. But if you think about it, like for example, my kids have the oldest is 2.5 years. He has maybe 200 polyester plush toys.
200.
How many? Yeah, around that figure. Yes. He's the first small kid in the entire family.
The grandchild. Yeah. Yep.
So can you imagine? Like everything is
Understand.
for him. So but Mad Monkey is missing the point. Because he says the consumer shouldn't have to pay, but that is not exactly the case. Like if you go using the chair example, if you go to buy a chair and you have the wooden chair, you have the aluminum chair, you have the steel chair, and you have the plastic chair. The plastic chair will be $2,000. The steel chair will be maybe 200, and the wooden chair will be 20. Just as an example. If you buy the steel chair will last like forever because it's made out of steel. And the wooden chair would be cheap because it doesn't use too much CO2 and it's not too expensive to bring it back to its original form. But the plastic chair will be simply pointless. Like if you need to buy something made out of plastic, it has to be really justified that it is made out of plastic. If not, you should be using other materials that are more sensible and recyclable. Because in the end, you can melt steel or aluminum with electricity. That can be made in the end out of
Renewable.
renewable energies. So in the end, if this method comes to practice and everybody's made, like, I'm pretty sure that we are going to go back to that point. Yeah, aluminum is recyclable, but it requires energy. So if that energy is not renewable, it's like cheating. But yeah. So if you imagine anything that you have, for example, if you have a car, right? How much do you think a car would cost in my presidency?
Um, 5 times more than what it does now.
I'd say 500. But
500 times. Okay.
yeah, but if you think like, and I was seeing the Cybertruck
Yeah.
announcement the other day. Like the entire exterior is made out of steel that doesn't bulge on impact or anything.
Yeah.
But what happens if you are like in Spain, if you are insured, for example, right?
What happens if what?
If you are insured.
Insured, yes. Insured.
And you have a small crash in a roundabout and you hit from behind another car. And if you break a little bit the bumper.
The other car goes like this.
Yeah, but you have two bumpers that are like 20 kilos of plastic.
Oh, now?
To the shop.
Yeah.
With your car, your normal car.
Current car. Sorry, I thought you meant the Cybertruck.
Yeah. No. Take out the bumper, throw it in the bin, because I have a shop nearby that does that. Like there is a container full of bumpers.
Okay.
Throw the bumper away, buy a new bumper, and put it back again. If you were the car designer and you will tell your boss, like I'm working in the design of this new car, and the bumpers are made out of plastic, and it will say, you are increasing the price of the car by 20,000 euros. What are you doing? Use another thing.
Okay. Yep.
And you will find a means of manufacturing products that are cheaper to recycle and with materials that are cheaper to reuse and have longer lives. Because if I tell you that this costs like 20,000 euros, but it's going to be good for 20 years, you might buy it. But if I tell you that it's going to cost 20,000 euros and you are going to have to throw it away, you will have to throw it away like next year, you will say, no way. I will have to get a mortgage only to freaking buy phones. But the thing is, when you are designing a product, you make everything from the cheapest sources possible. If you change the paradigm and make manufacturers find materials and means of production, because all the materials that are on the PCB are meant to not be recycled. But if you force the manufacturers to find ways of manufacturing every little component, the PCB, the chips and everything, so it can be disassembled, separated into the components and recycled, then it's cheaper. But right now, what we are saying is, our grandkids will pay that cost because they will have to. And with the CO2 emissions, it's the same. And if you take transport, for example, if you have an electric car, you can go from Melbourne to Sydney, charge it with renewable energies, and not emit any CO2, for example.
Okay.
If you go from Sydney to Melbourne by plane, you emit like 6 tons of CO2. When you are making the choice, will I drive or take the bus or take the train there because it is electric and it is renewable and it is cheap, or I will take the plane, which emits a lot of CO2, but I'm not penalized for that. Can you see the point?
But these are now tough questions based on our lifestyle and what we've become.
But I'm not sure about that because
but the reason is, but people aren't going to choose to go via car than plane. They're not going to drive 9 hours versus 1 hour in a plane.
Really? Depending on how much it does cost.
But that's what I'm saying. We're already in the situation where we are, where the
Yes.
convenience exists.
But the thing, if you do this from today to tomorrow, and everybody has to live by these rules, there is no way that we are not going to revolt and kill our like government and everything. Like, yeah, I will the first one to pick an axe.
The
I know.
Miranda, the Miranda murders.
I remember that night.
Yeah.
No, not for me. Uh, yeah, but if you start taxing by, I'd say, small percentage increase every year by these terms, you will slowly encourage the manufacturers to think their processes so their products keep being competitive. Because then you will have someone like this crazy guy, Elon Musk, that will say, okay, if my car is more expensive because it has plastic bumpers, I will make them of bouncy steel.
Yes.
I will invest in R&D to design a bouncy steel that behaves the same as plastic, doesn't deform, and in the event of a horrible crash, I will just melt it and make another one. But until you get to that point, like I cannot see how will you encourage brand manufacturers to make things out of innovative materials or invest in R&D into going to that through that path.
Okay. Well, Sam, 3D Printing Revolution, made a good point about alternate transport, trains.
Yes.
Okay, so there's the compromise. So I wouldn't drive. I just wouldn't. I wouldn't go.
Yeah.
So if someone
Okay.
says you're now going Melbourne, Sydney, I'll go,
How
nah, I'm
how
not
far
driving.
how far is Sydney from Melbourne?
9 hour drive. I don't know.
No, how long is in distance?
Shit, I don't know. 2,000
Come
k's?
on,
Hang on, let me Google it.
2000 k. Okay,
Let me Google it.
that is 4 hours in the standard train in France in the TGV.
Here we go. Melbourne to
4
Sydney.
hours,
It's only 874 kilometres.
800.
800.
That is an hour and a half, in the TGV.
Yep.
In the French train. Like the thing is, will you go to the city center, catch the bullet train to Sydney, and take like 2 hours, or will you go to the airport, go through security, catch the plane, go like for an extra 30 minutes less on your travel?
There would be a tipping
like,
point, of course.
Yeah, but the thing is, you will have to choose, and I will not like penalize a trip like Cape Town to New York, and say no, you will have to pay €500,000 because of all the CO2. But what I will say is, in that trip, business class will pay an extra fare for the extra CO2 that is avoidable.
Okay,
Because
if we're
reason has
penalising
a
the
step.
rich, if we're penalising the rich people, yes, good, no
Not the
problem.
rich people.
But
The
they're the
people that
ones.
decide.
They're the ones that are going to have the means to pay the
Oh yeah,
excessive prices, and they will continue to do so, which means you're not
Absolutely.
stopping any CO2 because the planes are
No,
still going to
no.
fly.
What I've said is I will make them pay the exact amount that takes to extract that exact same amount of CO2 from the atmosphere, and I will do it.
Okay, all right, yeah.
It's like if extracting a ton of CO2 in the most advanced plant with the most advanced method that we have now is €500,000.
Mm-hmm.
That's what they will pay for every extra ton.
Okay, all right.
Because have to be like, yeah.
Sam's not only had a couple of drinks, I think he's had some other stuff too.
Yeah. No, it's fun. It's fun. Yeah. TGV tracks are straight. Yeah, but like I live like 900, almost 1,000 kilometers from Paris, and I can get there in a little bit less than 5 hours, I think.
Yeah, we don't have fast trains in Australia. That's the problem.
But I have. Yeah, but Why not?
Ah,
Because there is
money.
an incentive.
Correct. There's money.
There is not an incentive.
It costs
Yeah.
$50 billion or some shit to do it.
Yeah.
Uh, but that's only
And
Australian dollars, so it's not really much.
yeah, and using like that would make research into more advanced planes, electrically assisted planes, hybrid. Like, did you know what happened
Got
in the
gliders.
2000, 2008 crisis? Do you know what happened?
No, what in the
The
GFC? Is that what
in
you're
the
talking about?
airplane in the airplane in the aviation industry,
Mm-hmm.
they made, at least in Europe, they instated a rule that said that planes will need to do the airport approach coasting
Okay, yeah,
instead, like, because before they look what they did was get very near the airport and then go brake, literally brake,
yeah, yeah,
wasting
yeah.
energy and go down very fast.
Yep.
And now they have to like start coasting and planing, going down very slowly, taking use of all the potential energy to get to the airport. They saved thousands of millions of euros with that, only with that,
Wow.
and CO2 emissions.
Yep.
And nobody complained because nobody knew.
Yeah, yeah.
Only geeks
Mm-hmm.
like me. And I noticed it because when you went to, for example, from San Sebastian to Madrid by plane, it's like 500 kilometers. And in the regular trip and the trip before that, what you would make was take off, reach maximum altitude, go like for like half an hour,
Yep.
brake and go down.
Yeah.
What
Okay.
they do now is reach altitude and immediately start braking and coasting and go back. It's like a parabolic flight.
Oh yeah, yeah,
500 kilometers of parabolic flight.
yeah. Okay.
And it's way cheaper for the air companies, flighty companies.
Yeah, airlines.
Yes.
The airlines.
Airline.
Yeah.
So
What was there any increase in the duration?
it takes more time. It
How
was like
how much?
10 minutes, 12 minutes.
Ah, all right. Across.
It's not
Yeah. Yeah.
across, like, the flight like was 1 hour and a half and now is no.
Okay.
One, yeah, 1 hour and a half and now is no. Was 1 hour and 10 and now is 1 hour and a half, something like that.
Okay.
So, like, if you put the pressure in the company, like, I don't like when people say you shouldn't buy that because it's wrapped in plastic.
Yep.
I say it should be illegal to wrap that in plastic.
Mm-hmm.
And the other thing that makes me think about this, when I was a kid, and that's like old grandpa saying, "When I was a kid."
Yeah. Here we go. Yeah.
Yeah. When you, I remember going to the local supermarket. Like, it was across the street. Like, it was like, when I say across the street, like 30 meters. We bought like soda, I think, soda bottles, a liter and a half soda bottles. And when you bought the soda bottle, you had to bring back the old one.
Okay. Yep.
If you didn't bring back the old one, they charge you for the bottle.
Yes.
And what they did with the bottles was they didn't melt them again like we do now, like throw it in a container, break the glass, and make glass again. What they did was wash the bottle and refill it, which emits a lot less CO2
Yeah. So
than
sterilize the bottle and
yeah.
yep. Okay.
So we did it.
Yeah.
And we stopped doing it because it was cheaper to buy new bottles than reusing them.
Yeah.
Why? Because all the CO2 is not chargeable.
Yeah. We used to get milk delivered. Horse cart. I'm serious. There used to be a horse and a cart down the asphalt road. Okay, so it wasn't like we lived in the sticks, but we would have I don't know pint, 600 mils, a pint, milk bottle with an aluminium foil top.
Please,
Yeah. Okay,
it's
and
recyclable.
you would always give the milk bottles back.
Yes.
I don't know if there was a penalty if you didn't. But I
Sure.
distinctly remember you would leave the old milk bottles out. They would come and take them and give you new ones, trade them in.
And but you do that with gas. If you try to buy butane or any sort of gas bottle,
Yeah, barbecue.
like yeah,
barbecue
if you
bottle.
don't give back the bottle, you will have to pay for it.
Well, you actually when you buy the bottle from the service station, right? You actually pay the deposit then. The very first time you pay the deposit,
You pay, yeah.
and if you don't
But
bring it back, you've lost your deposit.
Why? Because it is insanely expensive, the bottle. Like, if you have to remake an entire butane bottle every time you refill,
Yep.
it's very expensive. That's why nobody complains. Why do I have to do the both trips? Bring the empty and take back the full one, because it's expensive. If it was expensive, like, you could give the option, like, you can go the expensive route or the cheap route, and pay for it.
Yep.
But putting the pressure not in the consumer but the company. Like, look at, like, lately in at least in Spain, they have been phasing out plastic bags.
Yes.
The ones in the supermarket, like those, like I see in the movies, in the US movies, they always have brown bags of
Paper
groceries
bag. Yep.
without handles, which,
Yeah.
like,
Yep.
blows my mind.
That's why they
Strange.
always tip in the movies as well.
It's absurd.
Eh.
Like, they look like idiots. In Spain, they give you like this. But there is a new EU rule that says that supermarkets and shops and everything, they cannot give you those for free. You have to pay for them.
Yeah. So here's my problem with this. In Victoria, in most of the states of Australia, we've banned single-use plastic bags. They're banned.
Okay.
Okay.
Yes.
But then you can buy them from the shop.
Yes.
They're different plastic. They're slightly thick or whatever. Now we buy Hessian bags, also from the shop, right? They're $2
Yes.
each or whatever, but they're
Yes.
completely reusable. We've got 10 of
Yes.
the bastards, all right?
Yeah, we have those too.
We have them, all right? We forget and
Yes.
we buy some more. But the introduction of 10 cents, 15 cents for a plastic bag, who's getting the money? The supermarket
Yes.
for the 1 cent bag.
But what is even worse, supermarkets have found that people tend to buy less because they are trying to only buy what fits in their arms without buying a bag.
Okay.
So, what supermarkets have started to do is give you for free compostable plastic bags.
There was something on Twitter about compostable bags 6 months ago, a year ago, and I said, "Oh, this is a great idea, fantastic." And then someone said, "Until it rains, or until."
No.
Yeah, people were quite negative about the whole.
No, because we have one of the containers that we have in the street is compost.
Okay.
It's organic matter.
Yep.
And we have one of those bags for the organic matter at home.
Okay.
And we put in there like fish, sauce, food that is wet. It's with sauce, with liquids, with water, and it remains like unaltered. Like, it needs to be composted, not wetted. Like, this is not exactly potato paper. It's plastic.
Okay.
It's a polymer, but it's organic polymer. And if you leave it with the worms in the compost, it will be eaten by the bugs.
Yep.
Which is how you should be disposing them.
Mm-hmm.
So the thing is, if you put the pressure on the companies will find a solution, which was that as easy as making compostable bags.
Okay.
Why, like, the technology for compostable bags is not new. We have been using the same plastic on the same bags for maybe 15 years. But they kept using plastic because it was allowed and it was cheap.
Yeah.
So if you put the pressure on the companies to make the phones, the cars, the means of transport more efficient, more environmentally friendly, less CO2 emitting, it will happen. As we have solved everything. Like, I remember when I was a kid, there was a leather manufacturing company. It was incredible because the factory was at the beginning of the town, and they dumped all the residue on the river that went all through the town.
Wow.
It was insane. Like, I remember that now. If you saw that now, you would call the police.
Yeah.
And the river, every day when we went to school, we passed twice through that river, through bridges. And you could see like, okay, today is red. Oh, today is blue. And you will like throw stones, and the stones like will be bloop, 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 with like incredibly. It wasn't water; it was a river made out of waste.
Yeah.
And then a European policy came out saying, okay, maybe throwing your shit in the river is not good.
Yeah.
And they made them, okay, you will have to use a water treatment plant. You will have to put a water treatment plant in your factory, and you will only be able to take and put back clean water on the river. And they did it.
Yeah. Of course.
They kept making leather products. Leather products became a little bit more expensive.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, but the water wasn't red or blue or green.
Yeah. In fact, talking about leather products, there was a movie with John Travolta as the lawyer. I can't remember what it was, but it was leather products and it was contamination. Right?
Yeah.
They won the case and he lost everything personally, but that's by the by. But it was exactly this. It was leather. It was a leather factory or whatever, and it was just devastating to the community.
Yeah. And like, I truly think that if you like just use the philosophy of I will make the companies pay to bring back their products to their original state, we will end up paying more, but we will end up paying way less than we would have paid. And you will have, like, for example, imagine that I have to pay for this instead of the 1,000 euros that it costs, 3.
Yep.
But when I return it, I will get 2 back.
Well, that's okay.
Or 1 back.
That's okay.
Yeah, yeah. But then it has a resale value. It keeps some of the value of the material, because if not, if I don't get anything back, I might be tempted to throw it in the trash.
Yeah.
So we need to incentivize that every single thing that we buy goes back to the recycling, reusing, and reducing path.
So, a civil action is what the movie was called, according to Thierry.
Thank you.
Okay, so we're effectively paying the deposit up front by paying a €2,000 phone or 3,000 whatever, but we get it back.
Yes.
Now, what?
Still, the phone is more expensive.
I get that. I'm unhappy with that, Your Lordship, but you know.
Yeah, right now, instead of $1,000, it will be 20 grand.
No, 20 grand is never going to happen.
It is not, but it is not meant to be recovered.
No, it's not. Even though Apple shows they've got a little robot that takes the thing apart and all that bullshit, is bullshit. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. The thing is, if you do it instantly, it will not happen. You will have a revolution and people like purging the no. But if you do it gradually, what is going to happen is that brands, manufacturers, and producers and everything, they are gonna find appealing to invest in R&D and use less disposable materials because their products are going to be cheaper. Like, what do you want? A 50-cent apple or a €1 apple that is wrapped in plastic?
I want a 50-cent apple.
Yeah, that's it. If you are rich and an idiot, you can still buy the €1. And the €1 will return you 25 cents if you bring back the plastic.
Okay.
That is what happens in Germany and Austria, is that poor people is searching in the trash, in the bins, to grab all those bottles that tourists throw away because they don't get the system.
Yes.
And bring them back to the supermarkets for money.
Sure.
Doing the dirty job. So
yeah.
Even that is good.
But I used to do that as a kid. Coke bottles, the big ones, the tall glass Coke bottles.
Yeah.
We used to get 20 cents or whatever, back in the day.
Exactly. Because they retain value.
Yeah.
We need to go back to that. Yes.
Who was saying? Sam was also saying he can't. He doesn't stand the way they encourage recycling before reuse with phones. I pass all my phones down. All of my
Yeah,
phones go well. Typically, it goes to my wife after 2 years, then maybe to her mother, or my son, or a family friend. Typically,
yeah.
now, uh, highly unusually, apart from the fact I can't actually find it, highly unusually,
I,
there's an iPhone 5 on my desk. I
let it be a rubber duck. Rubber duck. Okay, okay. iPhone 5.
let it be a Nokia. Yeah.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
but all right. How does the journey begin? How how can you
Like
introduce such a painful thing?
you should force companies to disclose, which is, I think, more or less what is going up now, to disclose what's in their products and their recyclability. Every company right now, I think, will start by getting a zero out of everything, I guess, uh, and then uh, forcing them to take back the product after its end of life, or paying a company to get the product after its end of life better, and trying to get the most out of it. Like if you have a company that is certified and can get this and say, okay, I can take out the glass, I can take out the battery, I can take out the copper of the wires, I can take out this, I can melt this, and I can end up recovering 5% of what is in here. The thing should be as expensive as it had 95% of non-recyclable parts in here. That will require extensive and very expensive procedures to make it back to its sources. If you do it little by little, like maybe 1% a year, right?
Yep.
Like little by little, people will say, okay, I was making plastic chairs, but plastic chairs are getting more and more expensive.
Yep.
But plastic for chairs is not kind of like they go like twins. Like you can make chairs out of almost anything.
Yep.
So you it can switch from making chairs from plastic and making them out of wood. Like wood can be thrown in the forest, and it will, if it is not varnished with something nasty, it will go back to its roots. So
Literally, yeah. Um,
yeah,
the challenge, of course, is with current manufacturing processes.
yes.
If we go to alternate materials, say we move away from plastic.
No, you don't have to move away from
No,
plastic.
but it's getting more and more expensive.
Not really. What I told you is that it like imagine if all the plastics in this phone
Yep.
were ABS uh, from Phantom Black color.
Yep.
If it is ABS from Phantom Black color, it doesn't have fiberglass in it. It doesn't have carbon fiber. It's not from a very specific color, and it can be removed from all the metals and everything that is in the phone. You can grind it, mix it with 10% new ABS,
Yeah.
and be used again.
Okay.
But if I cannot throw the plastic in this phone in the exact and correct bin, if I have to use the Samsung Galaxy midnight black gray with no, I don't know what
Shiny
bin,
with sparkles. Yeah.
then you will have to pay for it.
Yep.
Like there is kind of a difference, I think, because if the ABS in the phone can be reused with some degradation, it's not bad. The bad part is if you make your damn bottles blue.
Yeah. That makes sense. I get the whole coloured bottle thing.
And that with every single component. Like if you have ceramic capacitors, they have some metal in the ceramic. The ceramic can be ground out and reused. The metals can be melted and reused. But if you use ceramic capacitors that are not meant to be recycled, then that's not possible.
Okay.
So you should make the boards like in a way that you could like remelt the PCB, remove all the components, put them in their place to be recycled.
So put it through a
Which is
machine where it resolders the, or
yeah,
unsolders, reflows the
everything,
word I was
picks
looking
every
of, picks the
picks
part,
every component
puts the
and
part.
solders it. And
You've then got the whole verification of the part.
well, if it is a Galaxy device like
Yeah,
this,
yeah.
you should have your Galaxy disassembled line.
Sorry,
They
verification.
have sold millions of these.
I understand operational verification. So we're picking all
The
these
plant,
parts.
the plant that does the recycling should not be the same plant that makes the manufacturing, not the same manufacturer, not the same company.
So how do you verify that the chip that you've just taken off the reflowed board is working? That's what I'm asking.
You, you don't need to. Why
Wait,
do you need
you're
that?
not actually going to use it again?
There is no. I'm not using like you have reduce, reuse, and recycle.
Oh, okay. All right.
Okay?
That's fine. That's, as long
If
as
you
you're not.
recycle,
Yeah, yeah.
if you recycle it, like the any chip manufacturer makes the package in a way that there is no way to separate the components.
Correct. Yeah.
Because if you pick the silicon of a chip and grind it, you can throw it in the beach. No
Yes.
problem.
Yep. Yep.
But it has gold in it. It
Yes,
has
of course.
copper in it. It has and the black box on top of it is some kind of weird polymer, whatever, that cannot be separated from the silicon.
Yeah. Okay.
So, and if you incentivize the manufacturers, I can tell you that they will end up making PCBs with all the components that can be ground and throw away.
Okay.
Ground them, melt it, or whatever.
Yeah.
So,
All right. I'm coming around.
yeah. But little by little. If you do this all at once, there's no way.
Yeah, my brain's
But
already
imagine,
exploding because
yeah,
because I've gone to the natural end rather than the gradual
yeah,
introduction.
but if you imagine, like if you imagine a situation a few years from here where when you go and buy a phone, the phone is 1 millimeter thicker, is 20% more expensive,
Yeah.
but it doesn't have any impact in the environment. It's not that bad.
No, it's not that bad, especially
And
with your refund
and
policy that you've been
yeah,
talking about.
and it will last, and it will last you maybe 3 or 6 months more.
Well, actually,
It's,
Jordan said, we shouldn't even be talking about having a phone for only 2 years.
yeah, but I can understand progress in technology.
Hmm.
What I cannot understand is making a phone that is objectively meant to last only 2 years and make it as it will never disappear. Like
Yeah, I understand.
it's like yeah, it's like if you go to IKEA, it's like going to IKEA every Saturday.
Yeah.
You go to IKEA and buy a new wardrobe,
Yep.
bring it home.
Hmm.
You go and buy a new bed, bring it home. If you keep doing that, you will end up getting into your home and opening the door, and there is furniture. I cannot get in because it's full.
Yep.
So that should never be the idea. Like, I will make these by the millions, and I will not think what happens with them after those 2 years because if they make the 9, then the 10, and then the 11, and it only passes 1 year between each version, they should be thinking that there are 2 million of these in the streets that should be discarded. How? Why aren't we forcing companies to do that? That's what I don't get.
I watch Apple keynotes because I typically buy Apple products. At the end
Mm-hmm.
of each presentation, they talk about how highly recyclable their devices are.
They are not.
Well, this is the spin, because they say we have recyclable glass or recycled glass, or we are made from aluminium single component, blah 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 blah, unibody
But yeah,
this.
but they say that in one keynote,
Yep.
and they switch to the next version and they make the entire thing out of glass that requires an insane amount of goop to keep it together.
But this
And
is
a
what I'm
case
saying.
because
The companies say and are audited on, presumably,
yeah,
recyclability. Okay, so we go, oh
yes,
yes, good, the glass is recyclable. Oh, good, blah blah. But the thing is, we as consumers are not taking them to the right place, or the place
no,
doesn't exist that we can take it to be recycled. And this is your
and
point.
we are not encouraged to do it.
Correct.
But if you like, imagine that there is a phone manufacturing plant. You see trucks coming in bringing materials. Like imagine that is only one factory.
Yeah, yeah.
And the factory makes everything, makes the glass, makes the body, makes the PCB, makes everything. You will see raw material trucks coming into the factory and finished products coming out of the other end.
Yep.
What I want is a factory that gets phones coming in and raw materials coming out to the other side.
Okay. Yep.
And that should be the end goal of this.
Okay.
Forcing the manufacturing processes, design, and all the entire cycle. So it's closed. You can use the exact same materials to make phones again, or whatever you want. Yeah.
Yep. Well, Jordan's saying his iPhone 4 is still in use.
Yeah.
Again, we've all got different uses for our old technology, and the reason why
Yeah.
the reason why I have an iPhone 5 on my desk somewhere is because I occasionally take video of my phone.
Yeah.
And I can't. It's hard to take video of your phone if you can't, you know.
8Z screen recorder.
Yeah.
But but the thing is, we are geeks, but we know lots of people that are not willing to do that. So CloseCycles should be the goal. And if it is something that is not like a phone, something that is going to be almost like forever, it will not matter if it costs 300% more, because it's a one-time payment. But if it is going to be discarded, that should be taken into consideration.
Yeah.
Yes. Conception.
Yeah. Hey Daffod, how are you?
Yeah.
Who else we got?
And I will do the exact same thing with CO2.
Okay.
Like
run that one by me.
You should pay as much money for any CO2 that you emit as the as whatever the technology on that moment costs allows you to pay for the capturing of that CO2.
Right. Okay. See,
and
I can see how that would encourage more use of electric or hybrid cars.
No, that will encourage the usage of renewable energies, and that is where nuclear falls extremely short of expectation.
Okay.
Why? Because I am when I make a nuclear plant, I should be paying to the government present and future rent and maintenance and security for that space and the space that I need to keep the waste of that plant until that can be disposed safely. Let's say 50,000 years.
Oh, I was going to say 100, but yeah, okay.
And then,
let's go for 50.
Yeah. And then every kilowatt hour that comes from that factory should be charged accordingly. If you make a nuclear plant that is going to be used for 30 years, and it makes like 1 megawatt hour, to every megawatt hour should be paying the rest of the 50,000 or 100,000 years waiting for the decay of the material, security personnel, renting of the space, every maintenance, everything. And then you will say
That
that
seems
every
expensive.
kilowatt, yeah, right.
It
I
seems
like that you
expensive.
made that. Yeah, with appreciation. Yeah, the thing is, each kilowatt would cost around, I don't know, 1,000 euros, give or take. So nuclear will become instantly very expensive. And second thing that I will charge nuclear, insurance.
Yeah.
I would force every nuclear plant in the world to be insured for the present and future costs of any accident for the next 100,000 years.
Man, you're a ball buster.
No, because what I'm doing is avoiding my kids and my grandkids to have to deal with our shit.
Yeah. Yeah.
We should have factories everywhere making solar panels and windmills and hydroelectric and geothermal and energy efficiency and everything instead of what we are doing.
I'm all for that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
I'm all for that.
it will become so cheap, so quick. We will stop paying for electricity. We will pay. We will stop paying for gas. It will be insane.
Mm.
It will be insane. You know that in Spain, uh, new buildings are required to have installed uh, solar thermal systems that supply half of the total amount of water required for the daily usage of the buildings.
Oh, really?
But the system is not required to work.
That's just a
You can,
Spanish thing, surely.
oh yeah, you have everything, the water deposits, tanks, everything, valves, and you can have it switched off forever. It's insane.
Man, I thought our government was stuffed.
Yeah,
I think all
well, it is.
governments are stuffed.
Yeah,
Um,
but the thing is that there is no pressure on the wound. Like I saw Adrian Boyer saying that nuclear is the only one that can make us escape from this CO2 trap that we are on now. This is insane. But I think that we are asking for a loan to someone that cannot say no. Our kids or our grandkids.
yeah, yeah.
Like I'd like to have a discussion with anyone that says nuclear is the solution. I would like to have that discussion through Skype with those people sitting on the reactor in Chernobyl or having a bath in the shore of Fukushima.
Hmm.
You take a bath in Fukushima, eat some fish from there, and we can discuss that from Skype. Maybe they convince me if they
Convince you.
don't die.
Yep.
No. So the Miranda regime, like wouldn't you vote for me? Vote Ivan. I
Oh,
will make
well,
life like
so we got the
hell.
Miranda murders, the Miranda regime. I'm thinking the Miranda monopoly myself.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. But I think I think all of these things that I'm talking about will be a standard practice before I die.
Okay, well that's
I
good.
really, I really, I really believe that our kids and grandkids will have the mentality of not treating the earth like infinite because it is not. It is not.
Yeah.
So yeah. The other day, my in-laws bought uh, carpet that you put under the tree, one of those plastic trees, just to
Yeah.
make it nicer.
Yep.
And it had glitter on it.
Yeah.
And my mother-in-law took it from the bag, and I'd say, put it back in the bag because I saw all the glitter fall down. She put it back in the big bag, and she brought it back to the supermarket to return it. But by that moment, everything was full of glitter.
Covered.
Floor,
Yeah. Yeah.
it went. My kids had like glitter in the house. And I started thinking like, what is the like if there was no glitter in the universe, wouldn't it would anything suffer? Would anything be worse? No.
In
But
reality, no. But
no,
psychologically, people will go, "Oh, I've got to have
nobody,
glitter," and
no,
and to be
nobody,
honest, it's mostly girls.
nobody would notice if it wasn't there.
Yeah, oh, in the first place, or
Yeah,
wasn't there moving forward after having
no,
years
no,
of
no, no,
glitter.
no. But if it didn't exist,
If it didn't exist ever, then fine.
yeah,
It's
it's, no,
hard to it's hard to take stuff away from people.
yeah, but glitter is not one of those. And I was thinking this is going to end up like in my shoe soles, and it will end up in the street, and the wind will take it
Oh,
away, and
it
it will end up
gets
in the
absolutely.
garbage patch in
Yeah,
the
yeah,
middle of the ocean
yep,
with no reason. If in a plastic chair you can sit,
yep.
but glitter makes no sense. So yeah,
Sam's pointing out that
that,
bio glitter is a thing.
well,
It must be compostable.
when I was I did play airsoft once, and just a little bit after I played airsoft, compostable balls
Bullets, yeah,
started
yeah, yeah,
appearing
yeah,
because most of all the people play in the woods, so the woods were like full of plastic balls.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So
That makes
and
sense.
the
I get
other
it. Yeah.
and the other thing is lead shot. Like now, I think it's not legal in Spain to use lead shot to hunt.
Ah,
You have to use steel shot.
steel. Okay.
Yes.
Because of lead poisoning.
Yes.
Right. Okay. Just
You are
checking.
contaminating
Yeah.
the water
Okay.
and the food that you hunt.
Yeah. Yep.
So yeah.
Yeah.
So
Robbie Mack has made a very important point about glitter. Strip clubs
yes,
would be not as not as glittery, shall we say? But we've got bio glitter, so that's okay.
you could bring your aluminium foil and start like
Yeah,
you
not
did
dollar
like
bills, aluminium
no
balls.
aluminium foil balls. Yes. Yes. And yeah, nuclear. Yeah, no nuclear.
No. So,
No.
for anyone that's interested, there's a Tom Scott video about nuclear power. I'll put it on Twitter because most of you guys are on Twitter, and ladies. There's no ladies here tonight, but all you guys we follow each other. So I'll find the Tom Scott link and put it on Twitter because we're actually at time, believe it or not. You've
Oh,
been on a rant for an hour, and which is fine. That's part of why we did it because it's quite thought provoking. You've had me turn around, go back, come around again, come back. At least I'm thinking.
I'm mastermind.
Yeah, exactly. At least I'm thinking.
It will end up coming. This video
This video.
is the testament of when I prove right in the future,
Yeah.
people will come back to it and say he was like visionary.
Yes. So
Accurate.
if it takes say another 900 and something years, it'll be Miranda Millennium. Yeah.
Hey,
There we
hey,
go.
click, 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 click.
And
Future reference.
future reference. All right, gents, we're off. I think we're off. We're going.
We are off.
We're
Yes,
off.
we are.
All right. I'll put our little thingy on. Thank you once again, and uh, for all intents and purposes, we will be on next week.
Yes.
Yes, lovely. We'll think of something actually controversial because that wasn't too bad.
Yeah. No.
Yeah,
Cybertruck.
yeah. Oh, all right. On that,
Okay.
we'll catch you all later.
Bye.
Bye.